Said that Mr. Carabello is to be arraigned on 2 counts of assault and battery by means of dangerous weapon, 1 charge of assault by means of dangerous weapon, and 1 charge of being disorderly.
Does Ms. Carabello?
Yes, Your Honor.
Here, you understand the charges? Yes?
Yes, I do, sir.
The not guilty plea is entered, and, you want a lawyer appointed to represent you on this, sir? The
Yes, sir.
$150 attorney's fee, and so Mr. Ferrer, Mr. Weber, you already appointed, and, so the Commonwealth, as far as Mr. Carabello is concerned, you're requesting a dangerous offense.
Correct.
And what's the basis for that, Mr.
Your Honor, I can tell the court also with respect to Mr. Ferrer, I am requesting a cash bail, so I don't know if the court, the facts as to each are different, so I don't know if the court wishes me to go through essentially all the facts or just the facts specific to each defendant.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
So, I mean,
Judge, I can tell the court with respect to Mr. Caraballo, and so this would be in support of the probable cause having held pending a 58A hearing. Those facts come from a Lawrence police report on April 23rd of 2011 at approximately 11:06 p.m. Police were dispatched to 202 Broadway for a report of a stabbing. Upon arrival, they did notice several officers already on scene along with people outside of the establishment. It was actually, I believe, a hall that can be rented out for events. Several people, police actually spoke with one male who appears to have been an independent witness actually to the incidents that both of these individuals are charged with. He pointed out both Mr. Ferrer and Mr. Caraballo. With respect to Mr. Caraballo, police were able to speak with the independent witness who stated that he was noticing a fight between actually the victim in Mr. Caraballo's case and Mr. Ferrer. He then stated that he saw Mr. Caraballo aggressively approach the victim, who was Jocelino Aiello. The witness noticed Mr. Caraballo pull out what the witness described to be a 6-inch switchblade and start waving it at Mr. Aiello. Mr. Aiello was then struck about the side of the head with that knife. He did sustain a large laceration about the left side temple. There was actually another male that was attempting to pull the knife away from Mr. Caraballo. He was later identified as Angel Concepcion. He was also cut in the hand with that knife while he was attempting to get it away from the defendant. Both Mr. Aiello, who was the victim who was stabbed in the head, as well as Mr. Concepcion, who was cut in the hand by the defendant, were both transported to the hospital. I can tell the court, the police report notes that Mr. Concepcion, again, this is the person that was cut on the hand, the report notes that his injuries appeared to be minor and were non-life-threatening. However, I can tell the court with respect to Mr. Aiello, my office has spoken with members of his family today. I will tell the court he will be summoned in with respect to some counts involving other people. But what I can tell the court in terms of his condition as the result of the stabbing is that he did receive both stitches and staples to his head. Actually, his cousin and his mother are present in the courtroom today. They did indicate he was in CCU, which I believe is a critical care unit in the hospital this weekend. He was discharged this morning. He wasn't able to speak this weekend or open his eyes. He's now, like I said, since been discharged. However, I believe he's with his family and is still unable to speak at this point, Judge. So with respect to probable cause for Mr. Caraballo, I'd ask the court to hold him pending a hearing.
Your Honor, this was a baby shower where Mr. Caraballo was invited It was his niece. His wife, what happened, Judge, is that the complaining witness, Mr. Aiello, began making advances towards Mr. Caraballo's oldest daughter, who's 18 years old. And she was there with her boyfriend, and she and her boyfriend got, Mr. Aiello and his daughter's boyfriend got into an altercation, a verbal altercation. I spoke with Mr. Caraballo's wife, who is here. She stated that she tried to separate Mr. Aiello and her daughter's boyfriend. Mr. Aiello punched her in the face. She is here, Judge. She's in the first row on the left-hand side. She received stitches. She has a black eye. She's over on the court's right-hand side. She received stitches, and she received a black eye from this. Mr. Caraballo was somewhere else in the party. He noticed that his wife got punched in the face several times by Mr. Aiello. He came and approached Mr. Aiello, and he attempted to push him away. At that point, Judge, he just says things got very chaotic, and Mr. Aiello was already bleeding. He had gotten into a fight previously. He got hit on the bottle. He was hitting other individuals on the head with a bottle, and he was basically trying to protect his wife. Judge, if you look at his record, he does come to court. He does not work, Judge. He's on SSDI. He has psychological issues. No charges were pressed against Mr. Aiello as it relates to his wife. She has contacted the police department. She is intending on going to speak with the detectives today. Judge, I asked that some bail is warranted, and I would ask that you would release Mr. Caraballo, not hold him under 58A, and release him on $1,000 cash bail.
And Your Honor, just to be clear, I didn't mention his record or anything else because I was just reciting the facts with respect to probable cause.
Judy Caraballo's niece, who is the mother-to-be, and the relation that Mr. Ferrara has to that is Judy Caraballo is the wife of Brawler Caraballo, who stands before you, and they have a daughter, Emily. Emily is apparently a very attractive young lady, and Mr. Ferrara has had an ongoing relationship with her. And the two families were at this baby shower, and Mr. Aiello, from what I'm getting, seems to be a bit of a cad. Besides being drunk and disorderly and abusive physically, as well as showing complete disregard of the safety of others, including the police, leading up to this melee, he was consistently being sexually advancing towards Emily, and not paying attention that it was socially unacceptable, the inappropriate location, and she was declining his advances repeatedly throughout the evening. But as his alcohol level increased, his aggression and his forcefulness to try and identify her as being something that should date him got in the way. Mr. Ferrara stepped between one of the forceful verbal altercations or cornerings that Mr. Aiello had partaken with Mr. Caraballo. And at that point, Mr. Aiello probably had enough to drink and threw the first punch. Judy Caraballo was present when that took place. She denies that Mr. Ferrara threw any punches at Mr. Aiello, and instead, the single punch that Mr. Aiello threw and struck Mr. Ferrara dropped him to the ground. The melee then ensued, and with the rush of bodies, the group ended up moving several feet away. Mr. Ferrara was able to get up, couldn't then go to the rescue of Judy Caraballo. Instead, he witnessed others going in to split up that fight, and he was taken outside. Outside, he became extremely nervous about the fact that he couldn't get in to help his family members, and when Judy Caraballo then exited and was bleeding from the forehead, he was upset and nervous. When the police arrived, he kept saying, look at her, she's bleeding from the head. Apparently he didn't listen to the police description of the crime to calm down, and they put him under arrest for disorderly. It's only after this had taken place and after the police had this